Aloha. Hi. Today I'm talking to Hayden Crawford, and I'm seriously honored because you're such a cool person, and we have done already a couple of sessions. And you're having, I don't know if it's a company or the work you're doing, it's like Dream Time. And you're working with amazing colors. And I have this amazing actuarian group, and this group is growing like crazy. Every week I'm having more than 1,000 people, and all star seeds are coming to my group. And they're all asking the same questions. It's of course their starseed origin. And since we have worked together, I did ask you if you would like do an example with me and talk about, like, introduce yourself and explain what you do. And maybe you're doing also a course, right? So how it would help us and how do we starseeds benefit from it?
Okay, fantastic. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on in your lovely group. I really appreciate that, Agatha. So thank you. And it's awesome as well that so many starseeds are coming together in all sorts of different locations and wanting to, you know, remember who they truly are and what they're here to do. So fantastic that people are starting to ask questions, which is all part of the awakening that's taking place in 2020. Obviously, we're in 2020. And interestingly enough, actually, in the Colour Mirrors system, bottle 20 is called Awakening. And it's where we awaken to our divinity on the earth. So it's in a magenta bottle over copper. So it's all happening. And of course, you know, with that, the most obvious questions that were being asked are, who are we and what are we here to do? So part of the work that I do is I help people find purpose on their journey. So I'm a wellness coach and spiritual teacher specializing in colour therapy. And I work with this amazing colour therapy system that dates back to times of Atlantis and Melchizedek teachings and the Elohim. So it is a highly advanced colour therapy system that identifies your conscious and subconscious patterns, behaviors, beliefs, everything that is kind of going on behind the scenes that you might not necessarily be aware of. And actually, it's a numerology-based system, Agatha. So from that, I can look at your date of birth, and I'll do an example for you today, if you like. I'll look at your date of birth, and I'll be able to tell from there your personality blueprint, your strengths and weaknesses, the best times for you to embark on new projects and ventures, your starseed origin as well. So I can get that from a culmination of different things. That would be where your sun is positioned, what degree your sun is positioned at the time you were born, and where certain star systems were around you, but also from your numerology and your color influences as well. So it's quite a complex science, but it works.
Okay. Hayden, I have a few questions. Like, like I'm a starseed myself, right? So I can see and read energies, and I know, like, which since we work together, I'm releasing some major blocks, which like I had really sleepless nights. And then I figured out certain things. One question is that there is a starseed origin from my birth chart. And then there's numerology, like my name, which is Agate, or even my work, Aurena, which has the number 6 a lot. What is the difference between the starseed origin and frequency of when I do a starseed origin birth chart or when we do numerology? Like, what is the difference? Because it doesn't, like, I have lots of 6s and it's Venus, right? But it doesn't show up in my birth chart. So what is the connection and how is the difference?
Okay, so numerology really, and the system that I teach is called Pythagorean numerology. And Pythagoras believed that there's a relationship between colours, numbers, and the alphabet. So what we use numerology for fundamentally is to be able to understand somebody across all 3 planes of existence: the mental, the emotional, and the physical. So it's more of a science that interprets what's your personality blueprint, your strengths and weaknesses, the best times for you to embark on new projects and ventures, and what your life purpose or soul purpose may be. Whereas a starseed reading really looks more at where your sun was and what degree the sun was in relation to the different star systems, whether that's like Arcturus or the Andromeda Galaxy or the Andromeda Constellation or Sirius or Lyra or Alpha Centauri. And that's where we get the information through, really. But also we can tell from the general characteristics from your numerology report and your astrology influences, what houses your certain signs are in. We can align all of that, and we can kind of like, we can surmise, we can do a lot of surmising of what the most likely characteristics are. For example, you being a ruling number 6 person, you're a 33-6. So the way we work that out is, this is how we draw your birthday out onto the chart. So we can see from that, when we add all of the numbers in your date of birth, it adds to a 33, and then we reduce it down to a 6 in Pythagorean. And 33 in the colour mirror system is this bottle here, which is pink over pink. So this is about mastering love. So your main purpose in life is about mastering love, not only of yourself, but of other people as well. So it's self-love, it's unconditional love towards the self, but it's also in the subconscious, this beautiful rose pink, which is divine love. So you're going to master love in this lifetime. You're going to understand yourself as a divine, ancient, immortal being of light. So the 6th energy is Venusian, and Venus is the planet of love. And what we find with that is a lot of the people with ruling number 6s align to either the Pleiades or Orion, or Arcturus, or Sirius, really. I mean, and actually Andromeda probably more than anything else. So I'm an Andromedan starseed. That's where my soul originated from. But remember, like, even though you may have originated on Orion, and I know you've had your own sort of awakenings recently, doesn't mean to say that you only exist in Orion. You actually exist on multiple dimensions, synchronistically and simultaneously. So, and you've been through many different star systems yourself. So we can't really limit ourselves to just going, okay, so I'm just Arcturian, or I'm just Syrian. So we can get it from, we can get a more or less an accurate understanding of where our soul originated from by looking at the position of the sun, okay, what degree it was in, and where it was it trine, sextile, was it conjunct, or was it opposite certain systems, because we know that certain portals open up in certain positions, which enables these the starseed, the consciousness to be able to incarnate into a physical being on this planet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes totally sense, because in the group people, it's called the acturian starseed group, but I always tell people we are not just one. It's like being human. We are not just one country. So many other elements are playing a role, right? So thank you for explaining that, because I feel it's very important to understand for so many that we are not just one. We are so many things on different areas, levels, galaxies, and dimensions.
You're absolutely right. We're so much more than we think. I mean, I really love this phrase that we are ancient, immortal beings of light, living out temporary human experiences. And that was actually a quote that I got from Aaron Doherty from his YouTube channel. He does a lot of stuff on starseeds as well. He's an American chap. And actually, it makes perfect sense. And, we have to look at the work of Dolores Cannon as well when we're talking about starseeds. And she wrote The Convoluted Universe, because during many clinical trials where she'd had her clients in a somnambulistic brainwave state, which is the deepest brainwave state possible, it's deeper than gamma brainwave state, people were reporting the same things, that they had heard the Earth was in trouble and that they needed to come and volunteer to try and help raise the vibration of the planet into 5D. And that's why this awakening is taking place, because it's almost like there's many ascended masters as well that are here at this time to really help guide the planet forward as well. So it's just fascinating what's happening.
Yeah, it's just that most of us, that's why, like, when you say awakening, it's like we really need to remember who we are. And like when you said, the last session we did, I had really sleepless nights, and I do starseed activations, but it doesn't mean I'm perfect. We all need to still keep doing our healing. And then we were back in the Egyptian time, right? And it was amazing because the gifts and the abilities I have, it makes so much more sense now. I always said people, yeah, I have this gift. I don't know where and what, but it makes so much more sense. And even the most powerful gifts we have, we are most afraid of. And like, maybe we just go through to my birth chart, and you also do it's like releasing trauma, which I feel is so important, to release the trauma so we remember who we are. Maybe you would like to share also with us, like, what was your biggest, when did you realize that you were a starseed, and when you are from, did you also do that birth chart, or what did you do?
Yeah, so what happened to me was I used to work in the corporate world. So I used to work in IT recruitment. I used to manage a company in Perth. And
that's cool. Yeah, okay.
So I was really, so I was somebody very successful. I was making a lot of money, but I was just deeply upset. I was angry inside. I was getting very angry. So I had a bit of a midlife awakening. Other people might call it like a nervous breakdown, but I like to call it a midlife awakening. And I actually started learning numerology. And through that process, because I'm a ruling number 9, and the ruling number 9s are far more suited to celestial work than they are corporate. And I'd never felt comfortable working in the corporate environment because money's never really been a massive motivator for me. So I left, I sold my house, I moved down south, and I started really honing my skills within numerology and the flower essences and colour, and doing and teaching Reiki and lots of energy treatments. So I started. And
you're really, really good in what you do, really, because I'm very selective, I'm very sensible, and an empath, and I really look at people's energy. And we have done a couple of sessions, and I'm really grateful. It's important that people are out there like us, that people can reach out, and we need that. We all need help.
Oh, thank you. And you're absolutely right, Agatha. Even though we can activate ourselves and we can do all sorts of stuff for personal development, we have to keep that going. None of us are ever complete. I mean, we're on Earth for a reason. We're all having to work on our shadows. So a lot of the work that I do now is helping people to, look deeply at their shadows.
Yeah, shadow work.
Love them. Inner child work as well. So it's really about going in and seeing it from a different perspective, because a lot of the time it's just judgment that we've got on ourselves, other people, or God, and that's what keeps us in duality, when really what we've got to feel is unity consciousness, because we are emerging more as time goes on this planet towards a Syrian culture where we have unity consciousness. We're able to communicate telepathically, and we're moving more into the divine feminine energy. So really what we have to do is kind of love and accept all aspects of ourselves, our dark as well as our light.
Awesome. So shall we do the birth chart? Yeah, that would be so interesting.
All right, so this is Agatha's birth chart, everyone. Okay, so, Agatha is she's a genuinely beautiful soul, and she's got so many amazing abilities. Okay, and it's like many starseeds, actually, they do suffer from a little bit of lack of self-love, or self-doubt, or lacking belief in themselves. Now, this comes up a lot, and it's because we're all very hypersensitive, very empathic people. And, it's like the Acturians have very strong personalities, and they're great communicators, and they're actually here to teach. So if you're part of this Acturian group, you love nothing more than sharing your wisdom. So I'm actually, a major aspect of me is Acturian as well. So even though I'm Andromedan fundamentally, I've got a huge, great big Acturian aspect to my chart as well. So, what we look at, with your chart, for example, we can see straight away that there's no center of your emotional plane, so there's no 5. So for you, you don't know how you feel. So sometimes you react to emotional situations. You are very creative. The 6 is a creative number, but it's also a destructive number, because we have to look at the positive and negative aspects of the number 6, which is the ruling number carries the most weight in your chart. So when you're living positively, you're very creative, you're very loving, you can be the most uplifting person. When you're negative, you can go into anxiety and worry and stress and overwhelm and all of those things. So that's your 6. So really what we have to do is raise our vibration, so we're existing beyond the veil, so that we don't necessarily fall into that downward spiral. Now, you're also a day number 8 person because you were born on the 17th. You add the 7 and the 1 together, you're an 8, and that's Saturn energy. So you're very independent. 8s are very organized. They like to be in control, and they are very independent as well. But they're also very nurturing and caring people, and they're very process orientated. But they make great managers. And so the 8 energy is Saturn, which is old father time. So it appreciates that the future needs to be built on solid foundations. So for you, you've got to make sure that you've built your foundations properly in your life so that you can be independent and you can be this beautiful soul, this independent soul on the planet. Now, you also notice that you've got this arrow here, which is your 7, 8, and 9. And it's a bit like playing noughts and crosses. So we go, okay, so that's a row. And it's on the active end of your birth chart. And what we know from this is called the arrow of activity. It means you're always on the go, here, there, and everywhere, always traveling around, doing different things, always exploring, always getting involved in so many different things. So that's part of your personality. You also can see that you've got this arrow here, which is called the arrow of frustration, which is the lack of the 4, 5, and 6. Now, this means that you've had difficulties during childhood. Potentially, your mum and dad's relationship was a bit funny. Maybe you felt insecure when you were a child. Maybe there was things going on for you when you were a child, sibling rivalry. These types of things could go on for you. But also, it can then knock on into your adult relationships. So your emotional relationships in life as well. And you might find that you run away from things because there you are. You've got this arrow of activity. Plus the fact you've got these 2 isolated ones. Now, the 1 is your masculine energy. It's the sun energy. And what we can see, it's isolated. There's no 2, there's no 5, and there's no 4 around it. It means you might be prone to isolating yourself sometimes and like feeling a bit isolated or feeling a bit distant or cutting yourself off from people. So what we know from this then is like, there is an aspect of you that just wants to hide away. So what we'd go is, okay, so we really need to harness your pink Venus energy. This is how we cure your chart. We put that right in the center because that's your heart energy, the center of your emotional plane. And that's a way to rebalance. So for you being an Arcturian starseed and an Orion starseed, opening your heart matrix is the key to personal freedom.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes totally sense. Like when I'm overwhelmed and I'm like always doing something, then I just go backwards and I just want to be alone by myself. Yeah. And everything with me works through the heart. Yeah.
It does, and the thing is as well, because you're in a personal year cycle 1 at the moment. So we travel in 9-year cycles in numerology. And when you go to a 1, it's like, it's a reset button. So sometimes you can move house, change jobs, or change relationships in your personal year cycle 1. So it's fresh new energy coming in for you. So this year, it's all these exciting new things coming in for you, so there's some really, and because you're doing your inner work, you're getting rid of your doubts and your frustrations, your angers, and all of this. You're freeing yourself up. You're becoming a light body. So you're no longer buying into that old red survival, safety, and security energy. You're elevating your own energy. So you're a free spirit and able to attract in new, lighter, and brighter vibrational experiences.
That's awesome. I was just thinking, I mean, the world is a big place, right? According to numerology or the numbers or our starseed origin, can you maybe recommend a place which would be good for us? Like, let's say Australia. I mean, every country has a certain vibration, right? Have you figured out something like this? I mean, have you done some research?
Well, I'm English, so but I emigrated to Australia when I was 37, so in 2012, because like I need the sun. So I need the sun's rays. So I get very down. I get sad when it's grey. I'm a colour person. So I need to see the turquoise ocean, which reminds me of Atlantis, and the lifetimes that I had there. So a lot of the time, starseeds really need to be around colour. They need to be around beautiful flora and fauna, natural environments. They need to have turquoise oceans. They need natural vegetation. So yeah, absolutely. There are better places on the planet for starseeds to be. And I feel like I've been fortunate enough to have been guided to get to Australia. And I think that that's a great spot. Where you are in Hawaii, it's gorgeous. Any of these ancient portals on the earth, where there were once activated, these beautiful places on the crystalline matrix that we've got, that we can go to realign our energy. You're in the home of Mu. We've got, Australia, which, has got all of that beautiful celestial and aboriginal, sort of indigenous activity of the dream time. Parts of the States, Mount Shasta, in Southern California. We've got the pyramids of Giza. So absolutely, it's a really good question, and I think and we've got to follow our gut as to where we're guided to go to, because not one thing fits everyone.
Yeah. When I do a starseed activation, usually it's a time of, like, I don't believe in once, because it's always a process, and we have body, mind, and soul. So when I do a starseed activation, it's like removing implants, working also with the body and making it alkaline. And now the amazing thing is, I know about aura soma, right? I grew up with that stuff, and I always loved it. But after Vicky Wall, she's a blind woman, and she created this color therapy. I mean, it was always there. It's also very Celtic, but there was always something changed. And then when I started seeing your videos and your live videos, and you're doing the color reading, and then I asked you the other day, what is the difference? And then you said you can actually bathe with it. Can you please tell about this? Because we need to keep our body alkaline. Everything is stored in our cells, even the trauma from past lives. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, wow, you need to please explain this a little bit into detail.
All right, that's a really good question, Agatha. So you're absolutely right. Everything is stored within the cellular memory. All the trauma from past lives and, simultaneous lives, that everything's kind of stored within our energetic body, within our DNA. So for the work that you're doing, which is fantastic, to actually, get rid of the implants, is brilliant. Well, the colour mirrors work on a very similar kind of thing. So I'm going to show you a few bottles now that relate to the starseed. So this bottle here is one that I created when I was in South Africa doing my teacher training for colour mirrors, because I teach this system to people who are interested in learning it as a modality as well. So I do it as an online self-paced course. So this is my, this is the colour therapy bottle that relates to Andromeda. So it's rose pink with turquoise sparkles over lilac. So what we know is this is like the new heart energy colours. So rose pink relates to divine love, and lilac relates to the spirit, and turquoise is about that upper heart, communicating from the heart. So for Andromedans and Acturians, they really feel like they've got a deep need to be able to express what they know and to teach and to learn, as I explained. So what I would do to be able to activate my Andromedan connection, I would pour this remedy into a bath, and then I'll submerge my body into it. And what it does is the oils, which are beautiful sort of feminine avocado base oils with Ho'oponopono and crystal color and light frequencies embedded and embodied in them with loving intention. The energies from the remedy goes in through the skin, which is the body's largest organ, and into the cellular memory, where it clears and transmutes those old patterns, beliefs, behaviors that are keeping us stuck in our lives. And we're able to kind of just transmute that lie into the truth. So they're very gentle remedies.
That's awesome. And can you tell us, what is it made of, those oils? What is it made of?
Yeah, so it's organic. Everything's organic. Nothing's tested on anything, so it's beautiful remedies. And they're created by an amazing colour alchemist in South Africa called Melissa Jolly. So she channeled this colour therapy system in 2001, and it's been, gradually unfolding over the years. And its base oil is avocado oil, and that's the top fraction of the bottle. So the top fraction is oil, because oil sits on water. This one's Rexagena, which is gold over green. And in the bottom is purified water with organic colours. And of course, they've been infused with light frequencies, colour frequencies, loving intention, and Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian prayer ritual, which is, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. So they align beautifully to heart energies, you see.
So which bottle would you say is like the one you showed, the blue on blue? That's typical acturian. Is there any bottle which you say, hey, this is like one which would be like such a trauma or blockage release?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I've actually designed a whole section called the trauma team, and the orange in color therapy is for shock, abuse, and trauma. So where we feel abused on this planet, and a lot of starseeds do, because we're very sensitive. And when we got to Earth, it's a very dense vibration here, so we feel a lot of trauma. So this one is the sacral chakra, and a lot of the abuse that we hold is within the sacral chakra, which is our fertility, our sexuality, and all of this. So this is C2. So this is chakra 2 bottle, which is gold over orange. And this helps us to clear away confusion with our sexuality, with where we felt abused, where we felt violated in any way. Because like treats like in colour therapy, you see, as well as the complementary colour, also becoming the antidote for the colour. So for example, orange is about shock, trauma, and abuse. The complementary colour to orange is blue. And we know that blue is about our throat. It's about communicating how we feel. And we know that that's the antidote to abuse. So when we talk about how we feel and we're able to express it, a lot of the time we can see it from a different perspective. And let me show you this, because this is the new evolved sacral chakra bottle. And this one is orange over rose pink. We know rose pink is about unconditional love and divine love. So what happens here is it brings an element of suchness. This bottle is called suchness into our shock, abuse, and trauma. And it's where we recognize that the people that we construe as our baddies loved us enough to be able to teach us those lessons so that our soul could evolve. So it brings new awareness into the shock, abuse, and trauma. And that's when it can be cleared and transmuted.
Wow, that's awesome. And you said you're also doing a level 1 or something? Which you teach. What does it mean, and what are you doing there?
Okay, so at the moment I'm teaching on the 21st of June via Zoom tutorial. So it's a global sort of phenomenon. It's there's people from all over the world joining this event, and it's a really reasonable course as well. It's 99 Australian dollars. It's 3 hours of wisdom, but it's learning the basics of colour therapy. So really looking at the psychological and analytical meanings of 7 of the colours, but bringing in some of the colour mirrors to almost elaborate on this, but really it's looking at colour therapy as a modality and not specifically the colour mirrors. The colour mirrors is a practitioner course, and that's available independently and separately from the course that I'm offering on the 21st. Now, if you're in the United States, it'll be on Saturday night, so it'll be on the 20th, obviously, because of the time differences. But anyone who can't make it as well, it can be delivered to them via an email, as a video email afterwards if they can't make the course. But it really does go into the spiritual principles of colour. It talks about the language of light and how, this beautiful wisdom is available to all of us, and actually we all fully understand it, but we've just forgotten that language along the way.
So when you say color mirrors, what do you mean with color mirrors?
Okay, so these bottles are called the colour mirrors. So this is what they're known as. So it's similar to the old Aurosoma system via Vicky Wall, but it's almost like an evolution in consciousness. Whereas these colours have been channeled through Melissa Jolly, and they relate more to the new earth energies. So the bottles, the first 36 are numerology based, and they refer to normal human conditions. So all of the normal stuff that we go through mentally, emotionally, and physically. Then we move more into the chakra bottles, which deal with very sort of more tangible sort of human conditions as well. Then we move into the Gaia bottles, and from G1 to 36, we look at how, it's the new earth energy. So it's like how we relate to Gaia, how we are ascending through our solar plexus and heart centers, how we're aligning to Christ consciousness, and also, starting to understand our multidimensionality through our starseed origins. And the silver spheres, there's a group of 7 of the bottles are called silver spheres. And these are the ones that kind of like align us. This is the galactic gateway. They align us to our star families. So we've got like the wisdom keeper. We've got the galactic gateway. We've got the children of the light, which are all the starry children that have come in at this time to be able to raise the vibration. So we do it based around 36, because 36 is a magical number in numerology, and it's 6 times 6. So creation times creation equals 36. So there's 36 initial bottles and 36 Gaia bottles.
That is
So yeah,
awesome.
it's just a beautiful, amazingly wise, ancient secret system, which kind of really just helps us deal with everything in our lives, everything. But it also helps us anchor those transformations into the cells. And that's where the difference is, because it embodies it into 3D.
Yeah. And I noticed that starseeds always, they say, oh, they want to go home, but I always tell them it's so important that we bring all our soul fragments back into the body. But since our body is full of trauma and traumatized, we need organic things. We need very clear and pure things. And I just love those bottles. And yeah, I really want the starseeds to reach out and get the bottles. I also want to get a bottle. I'm just here, unfortunately, in Hawaii. But yeah. So
well, I ship all over the world, you see. So
yeah.
My orders go out from Australia all over the world. So I get them from headquarters in South Africa, and then I ship them out, you know, whether that's by Australia Post or by DHL. So anyone in the world can order one through the Dreamtime Academy, and all the bottles and all the combinations are on my website, which is www.dreamtimeacademy.com.au, and it's Dreamtime with a double E. A lot of people get that wrong. But the bottles are such high frequency that they're very much in demand. So it's almost like, you know, once you've done one, you want to, the next layer comes off, and you want to look at what comes up for you, because you go into a deep alpha brainwave state when you're bathing in them, and you observe what comes up for you. So you can release past life memories. You can have the most profound experiences. I remember that one time I bathed in one of the bottles. We did it over the equinox. A couple of years ago, and it's called Unlimited Wealth, or the Midas bottle, which is gold over violet. And actually what that does, it helps you to release all of the deep emotion, grief that's associated with blocking your financial abundance. And as I sat in the bath, I was in there for about an hour. I actually nearly threw up, because it had such a profound releasing effect on me. I didn't realize that I had so much deep grief in my cells, and it took me about half an hour to put my clothes on afterwards. I felt really washed out. Whereas another bottle that I bathed in, like the Gateway bottle, which is bottle number 36 in the system, this one here, it was a beautiful light experience. You know, this is like blue violet, and this one helps you just to move in through the gateway into a new way of being, and you know, almost gives you that subconscious permission.
How was the experience like when you did that violet and gold one, and about grieving your finance or abundance? How did you feel like after the next couple of weeks? Like, what were the changes you felt?
Well, it completely transformed my my blockages around being able to be wealthy and spiritual. So for me, you know, as I worked, I'd had a belief working in the corporate system that I had, you know, the only way to make money really was to work in a corporate environment, to work for someone else doing something that I didn't like doing, because I got that belief from my father that, you know. So what happened was, when I bathed in that bottle, it unlocked the power of abundance, really, because gold in color therapy is about value, it's about alchemy, it's about turning base metal into gold. So I was then able to then fully encapsulate, you know, the knowingness that I can still do my soul work on the planet and make a living from it, and be very comfortable with doing that as well. So it was like a huge shift for me. It was a huge shift.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hayden. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. I would just like to choose one bottle for the Acturian group, and if you maybe like coming to the end, and then you would just tell us like what's the bottle all about, because the group has by now almost, it's a Facebook group, it's called the Acturians, So I would like to choose one bottle and then you just give us the collective reading. Would that be possible? That would be so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's interesting because what we know about the Arcturians is they've got the strong personalities. Since childhood, they've known they've had a purpose. They frequently have inner feelings of dissatisfaction or unhappiness without knowing the cause. They often found delivering speeches publicly. They're extraordinarily creative and love to express themselves through writing, music and poetry, or as artists. They love traveling different countries. They're fascinated by technology and quantum physics and astronomy and mathematics and sacred geometry. They are highly sensitive to sounds, lights and smells and colours. They're prone to low blood pressure. They have a desire for lasting change and are drawn into professions where they may get to design or plan sustainable communities. It's hard to get to, they're hard to get close to and remain distant at times. So these are the sort of traits within the Arcturians. So what we can see from that really is that they are the really are the wisdom keepers. All right. So I would say that, you know, the Arcturians have this beautiful kind of mystery school magic about them. And they've come in with this wisdom, and underneath that is this pure connection to source. So in their subconscious, they're directly connected to this sort of telepathic, electric energy, really. You know, it's like a beautiful kind of like, you know, if you think about Antares, you know, the Antares, you know, is actually the eye of, I think it's the heart of Scorpio or something like that. But the Arcturians is that. So it's their electric blue energy, you know, and it's this frequency of just beautiful sort of pristine clarity and the wisdom that's available once the trauma, you know, once the orange related trauma has been dealt with, becomes exceptionally powerful. So something like, you know, like a bath in something like a galactic gateway or the wisdom keeper unlocks all of that ancient wisdom again, so it can be shared. And that's the key, you know, it's activating the pineal gland.
Yeah. Do you mind me choosing one bottle for the collective in the group?
No, not at all. I'll move that way.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, okay, I think of the group and then we just there's this in the third row, 1, 2, 3, in the fourth quarter, the 1, 2, 3, fourth bottle.
This one?
No, the third row.
What here?
Yeah, in the fourth, one more. No, the next quarter.
Oh.
The next, yeah, the fourth bottle.
This one?
Yeah. And at the same time, I saw in the first row, the last bottle, that blue, yellow, that those two always came together. The first row, the very last bottle. That yellow, blue.
Ah, okay. That one over there?
Yeah. Now I'm really curious.
Okay.
Okay, guys, that's all for you, okay? Now, da-da-da.
Okay, I'm going to actually, what I'll do is I'll read it to you, okay? So
okay.
So you get the whole shebang.
Okay.
Okay, so this is like the official language of the bottle, the bottles that you've chosen. So, okay, so G18. So the first one you chose is limitless, yeah? Mm-hmm. And this one is beautiful. So this one is pale turquoise over platinum, although mine has slightly changed color. Yeah, mine's slightly changed color, this one. So when a bottle changes color, what it means is that it's working with you. So your energetic body is kind of interacting with it. So this is like this bottle opens you up to a state of divine flow and connection where all limits can be removed. It invites you to receive the riches and joys of the universe and share them generously. Now is the time to find out who you truly are, what you are capable of, and what you most desire. This bottle activates the abundance of the universe and opens the door to a state of limitless faith. You can now manifest your reality with ease, grace, and elegance. There is no room for negativity and fear. This is where you move beyond separation, division, and restriction into limitless freedom. That is your true nature. So that's a beautiful bottle to choose for the Acturian group.
Beautiful, thank you.
And then the other bottle you chose is trust. So it's a lot of this is about trust, you know. So this one is this bottle here, which is the turquoise over yellow, and it's bottle 25, which always is about a lesson because it carries the 7 energy. We add the 2 and the 5 together. So 25 in the colour mirror system is it's now time to move beyond judgment. Begin to see how the flow and faith have always taken you to exactly where you need to be. Use your intuition, trust your inner knowing, and begin to be at peace with all life. You have been given the ability to analyze so that you can understand the difference between things without labeling them as good or bad, and the gift of discernment to enable you to see clearly and make decisions from a basis of strength rather than fear. At the deepest level, use these gifts and follow your bliss, which is the easiest way to be in the flow. And this has all the potential for new planet living. Okay.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much, Hayden. Thank you. So guys, if there's anything, reach out to him, okay? And I can just recommend that he's, you're doing an awesome job, Hayden. Thank you so much, you know.
Well, thank you very much for, thanks for saying that. And you are as well. I really appreciate you, you know, you sort of having me and you know, asking questions, really. It's just, it shows a really beautiful state of awareness. And for anyone as well, like, you know, if anyone's interested in having like a personalized starseed numerology report, I am doing them. They are handcrafted 15-page documents. So I'm generating lots of these at the moment because people are just craving this information. They're only 39 Australian dollars until...
So are you doing that also with the birth chart, or how are you doing that? Maybe you just explained it.
Yeah, so the charts, what they look at your date of birth, and they look at your living name, and they look at your starseed origin. So basically from there, I kind of do what I've just done with Agatha, where I look at your personality blueprint, your strengths and weaknesses, and the best times for you to embark on new projects and ventures, your soul purpose and that. But I also look at your living name, which is the name that you were born with that you like to go by. So not your full name, just your Christian name that you like to go by. So like for me, I'm Hayden, and I guess you're Agatha. And then what I do is I do a comparison between the birth date and the name chart, and I look at your soul urge number that's derived from the vowels in your living name, and your outer expression number, which is the way you're perceived by the outside world, by the consonants in there. And I look at your peak levels of your peak years of maturity as well. So it goes into your pyramids. So it's quite an in-depth analytical report numerology wise, but it also brings in your color mirrors influences as well, so that you can understand from your numerology which colors are beneficial for you to be able to help your soul evolve. And then I also look at the astrological influences of where the most likely planet is that your soul originated from. So, you know, it's a handcrafted report, which really gives you the opportunity to understand yourself on so many different levels.
Thank you, Hayden. That's
all right.
great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, then. I'll look forward to catching up with you again. And once again, thank you so much. And you know, I hope all you guys are just finding your way with all of this, because it is all quite new still, I think, for a lot of people, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with that, but I realized that it's still so brand new for so many. It's always like surprising to me, but yeah, we can't just that's why we are here, right? For us it's normal, but for others it's not, and that's why we are here to help. Yeah,
fantastic. All right then. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Aloha. Bye.
Aloha. Aloha.